small place with a big heart. It's the heartland, so we pump hard, get a fists up. We gonna rage on till our day gone.
Tell 'em I'm from a city on a map that you couldn't point out, but I rep that place. And it's love-hate, but I grew up here, so it's home base. Where my blood at? Those memories, they all flood back. I remember cruising Gutty Road with a blunt roll.
All right, look at that. I'm not even in picture here. Where am I? There I am. All right. All right, Iowa, you are tuned in to the only full-time media outlet dedicated to the world's favorite sport, that of hockey of all formations. We primarily talk ice. We talk everything from local, from squirts to the pros to the Olympics. You name it, we cover it. This is probably your 1 hour a week you can escape from any of the election hubbub. The only thing we had close to that recently was we had the Iowa Wild team president on, so that's about as close as you're going to get to a State of the Union. So we are the other state of hockey. We are powered by webcast1live.com. I am Derek Hender. Frank Mink, my usual sidekick, I guess I can call him back since he's not here, is on assignment. I think we may have sent him down for conditioning or something, I believe was the word I heard. So always willing to be the spot starter. Called out and made a call, and we have a great bench here. We have Joe O'Donnell, former guest, friend of the show. He is the director of broadcasting and team services for the Iowa Wild. He'll be occupying Frank's chair today. Thanks for coming, Joe.
Thank you. Much better looking version of Frank Mink, if I may say so myself, especially the hair.
Yeah, I will give you the hair.
Thank you.
I will. Yeah, that's some product there, brother.
Well, got ready hanging upside down today, so
Gotcha.
I'll do that.
Gotcha. So he has big shoes to fill, but he is more than capable of doing so.
Big skates, yep.
Big skates. They may not be sharp, Frank, but they're big. So, all right. So as we've talked to Joe in the past, and we'll get into talking a little bit more as we go through the show. He's a PA kid, just outside of Pittsburgh, correct? Haverton?
Outside of Philly, yeah.
It's all the same thing, right?
No, about 4 hours away. Now you're really going to upset me.
Oh, that's it.
Outside suburbs of Philly. Haven't lived there, though, in 10, 11 years now. I've been working in pro hockey, so been all over the map, but really enjoying time in Iowa, especially with the Wild organization. It's been great.
Yep. And just kind of a little bit of background. Joe's worked with the Reading Royals.
Yep.
And I actually pronounced that correctly. I've been corrected. It's not Reading, it's Reading.
No, Reading, Pennsylvania is not a spot where you take your family for vacation.
It's not on the bucket list, but it's not on the bucket list, right?
Yeah.
It rhymes with bucket, but
yeah.
Idaho Steelheads. And you got a chance
Great town.
Yep, you got a chance to call a championship game up there.
Yeah, 2007 Kelly Cup champs. It was unbelievable season. Francis Wattier, former Iowa star, B.J. Crombie. At the time they were Double-A affiliates, still are with Dallas. So, Steve Silverthorne was the goaltender. Mm-hmm. I go right down the list, and in fact, Jared Nightingale, who had a cup of coffee with the Iowa Stars, was injured basically that whole 06-07 season. He blew out his knee. He was kind of my wingman for a ton of broadcasts that year, and he played for the Chicago Wolves the other night at Wells Fargo Arena against the Wild. So,
5 degrees of separation, not so much in the hockey
I
world.
counted up. He's played for 16 AHL teams. Now, not 16 different teams, but like 16 stints.
Yep.
So 2 stints with the Wolves, 2 with the Hartford Wolfpack, whatever, down the list. But if you look at his bio on theahl.com, 16 times he's had a cup of coffee with somebody in the American Hockey League.
He's got a lot of jerseys.
He does.
All right. So, interesting fact, and I always like to throw some stuff out. Frank always gets on me about doing my research, but according to your bio, your favorite book is Curious George Makes Pancakes.
Yes.
How many times do you think you've read that over the last few years?
At the time when we did this little survey for IowaWild.com for our employee bios, it was probably our oldest son, Jake, who's now 5, was, 2.5 or whatever. And he loved that book, and I read it a lot to him, and on the spot I had to pick a book. And I don't do a whole lot of reading if it's not on the internet and if it's not hockey-based or sports-based, ESPN.com, NHL.com, whatever. So I went with that, and it's a damn good book.
It is, actually. Funny thing is, I was thinking about that after I wrote that down. My boys had a compilation book of same kind of stories, and God, I wish I had a dime for every time I read those.
Yeah, maybe.
It works. It's good stuff. Good stuff. So, anyways, we are on 1350 ESPN Des Moines. If you're wondering where you are on the dial, this is the other state of hockey. We're going to go ahead and get right down to the business of a busy show per usual. Going to talk about the 3 stars to start off, as we usually do. Joe, and you can chime in on any of these guys you think. Derek Brassard from the New York Rangers was the number 1 star last week. 2 goals, 3 assists. Total.
How about his teammate, though, JT Miller? Didn't he have a great week?
Someone had to give him those pucks, right?
I'm going to look. Yeah, exactly. I'm going to Google that real quick.
Yeah, you do, we call it Frank research, game time research.
Research on the fly, changing on the fly.
Exactly. That's how we roll here. Number 2 star, I think he got a little bit of the sentimental vote on this. Cam Atkinson from the Columbus Blue Jackets. Probably the first Columbus Blue Jacket to get a mention in a star in quite some time. Maybe Rene Bourque will get one for hitting his coach in the ribs with a puck. Who knows? But we'll see about that. Cam Atkinson was noted for at the game where he got the hat trick that he got the star mention for. There was a young lady in the stands that had a poster that said, "If number 13 scores, I get a puppy." Well, he got a hat trick that night, and he came out and apparently found that young girl and said that he actually will buy her the puppy.
Should be 3 puppies.
Should be 3.
Right.
They said it will be a rescue, so kind of like what he is, I guess, at this point, playing in Columbus. So, and honestly, who isn't playing in Columbus? 3rd star, Louis Domingue from the Phoenix Coyote, a goaltender who got a recent shot, calling up mostly because of the injury to former Iowa star Mike Smith. And I know that a friend of the show, Nate Beliveau, a Wild employee, actually knows him from his days in junior. And I know he's quite surprised to see him in the show and quite happy to see him having a little bit of success.
Yeah, well, he shut down the Wild the other night, which is a big reason
I wasn't going to bring that up.
3 stars of the week.
Yeah. So what do you got on JT Miller there?
He had 4 goals in the last 5 games.
That's not a bad pace.
Not bad
to be
for
on.
him.
That's a torrid pace.
He has 13 on the year, so 4 in the last 5 is pretty good. Good clip for him.
Hey, good as your last game, right? Good as your last game. This week, on Tuesday actually, but I really got to go on this one because there is some Iowa connection to this, as we like to talk about. Happy birthday to the great one, number 99, Wayne Gretzky. Turns the double nickel 55 on Tuesday. Tuesday past, actually.
Best stat about Wayne Gretzky for me ever, more assists
than anyone else has points.
Yeah. I mean, really? And then, let's throw in a cool 894 goals.
Yeah, just to throw salt in there, right?
No big deal.
Yeah. Well, and he was the evolution of the player. He was always the threat to score. And as he got older, he was really the mastermind of the play.
Yes.
And things that really changed, the thing about coinciding penalties not affecting teams, because at that time, the Oilers were such a powerhouse. If you put them 4-on-4 or even 4-on-3, so much open ice, as we see now with 3-on-3, so much open ice, these guys were burying pucks left, right, and center.
Yeah. Gretzky wasn't scoring much his last couple of years with the Rangers. I mean, he was having 10, 12 goal seasons, if I'm not mistaken, but still racking up 40 assists or whatever it was. And just unbelievable. Today's game, you talk about puck possession, and that's what Gretzky was all about.
Yeah.
Play away from the puck, and then when he had it, curling up over the blue line, hitting the late guy coming, Coffey driving the net. I mean, I'm too young to remember a lot of that, but you see the highlights now. From those 80s teams that were just world beaters. Different game, obviously, but for him to have more assists in his career than anybody else has ever registered points. For those out there who might not be huge hockey fans, a goal and an assist both equal points. So puts in perspective. It's pretty unbelievable. Yeah, I remember when a couple things that, of course, the region behind the net, when they moved the goal lines out, was always referred to as Gretzky's office. Talk about reading the play and setting things up. He was the quarterback back there that would, standing behind the net, reading the play, watching things set up, and just making things happen. Well, I mean, this may be a little bit of a reach, but would the American Hockey League have 5 California-based teams this season if it wasn't for Wayne Gretzky?
No way. The trade going
there
back,
might not be teams. There might be 1 team in California or 2 teams in California.
The Kings were there, and they were a bubble team at the time.
Yeah, but you wouldn't have the Ducks, the Sharks, the Kings. I mean, right on down the line from the. It's all Wayne Gretzky,
and they're powerhouse teams. They're not just like the Kings were back in the early '80s before Wayne went there. So Iowa connections. His oldest son, Trevor, is a baseball player drafted by the Chicago Cubs. He is now property of the Anaheim Angels. He played last season for the Burlington Bees. That is, I believe, single A ball in the Midwest League. The second season did not have a very good season, but still an accurate stat to say that the Great Ones kid played here. The other interesting piece is that Dylan Gretzky, which I believe is Keith's son, that's Wayne's brother, actually lives here in the Des Moines metro area. He is a basketball player for Simpson College down in Indianola. So I don't know if he wears 99. I doubt it, but
he should. Hell, if there's anybody that should be allowed to put 99 on,
yes,
it's got to be somebody with the last name of Gretzky.
Exactly. And actually, last spring I got to meet his middle son Ty, who was apparently quite an accomplished hockey player for his time. Did play in Shattuck and did eventually stop playing. I think having that nameplate on your back's got to be really heavy. Was quite a player. Was apparently 1 point out of his high school league championship for scoring title. So, but Ty runs the Wayne Gretzky hockey camp. So I got to work the camp with him last year. Great kid. I got to meet Wayne and things like that. So
Gretzky's last year, 98, 99.
Yep.
70 games, 9 goals, 53 assists.
Exactly. I think it's ironic he retired in 99. Don't think that's lost, but okay. Trivia question. Who was he drafted by?
Well, you told me this before the show, so I won't.
You can go ahead and spoil it. It's okay.
Well, I said Indianapolis, and you told me that's incorrect.
Well, partially correct.
It was the old WHA days.
Right, it was the WHA, Indianapolis Racers. And actually, he was not drafted. The owner, Nelson Scalbania, actually signed him to a 7-year, $1.25 million
I'm surprised it was that much.
I know.
Was that 79, 78?
Yeah, he was like 17, so it had to be in the mid-70s.
And then, I guess, was it like the Oilers just purchased his contract or traded for him?
They bought him and Eddie Mio and their backup goalie, I think it was.
78, 79, Indianapolis Racers, WHA, had 6 points in 8 games.
Yep. And the Indianapolis Racers did not last very long after that. They actually folded up that December. So traded to Edmonton, where Peter Pocklington was the owner, and extended his contract for another 10 years for, I think it was $2 million or something. It was ridiculous. The money that's thrown around now, that seemed at the time like looking at A-Rod's contract.
See, I didn't even realize at the time, Derek, the Oilers were still in the WHA. So that's 78, 79 season, 8 games in Indy.
Yep.
And 72 games in the WHA, the World Hockey Association with Edmonton, 104 points in those 72 games.
Yeah.
Not too shabby. And then his first year in the NHL, 86 assists, 137 points. The rest is history.
Yeah, he might have heard of him, exactly.
You talk about Hockey DB.
Yep.
Right? Great website. You can get lost in that site.
Oh, absolutely.
Stands for Hockey Database, hockeydb.com. You put in a guy like Gretzky or Lemieux or some of these guys and just look at their numbers. And then the best part, you click on one of their great teams, like for Lemieux, Yager, Francis, Mullen, unbelievable. Tocchet. You just go down the list. Kevin Stevens. All these guys had 70 points or more, 80 points or more. Unbelievable. Mark Recchi.
Yeah.
Then you click on Recchi and it goes his 25-year career. You're he played with this team or that guy. I mean,
just think of the teams
website
that the Oilers in the 80s had with Coffey and
Curry
and all those. I mean, Dave Semenko, who was basically put out there as a bodyguard for him, would get 40 points a year.
Yeah. Well, I see him a lot at Iowa Wild games and American Hockey League games. He's a scout. So
interesting.
And his hands are as big as these books next to me, these Bibles.
No doubt. They hurt a whole lot more, too, I'm sure.
So handed out a few concussions with those mitts.
Doled out some beatings with it. So anyways, last little bit about Gretzky. He did institute the jersey tuck. And part of that was because of the fact that he always played up several levels of hockey. So he was playing with much older kids. So they gave him the smallest jersey he could give him. And it was still too big, so he always tucked in the right corner. Manufacturer of the jerseys at the time was CCM. And, of course, their logo's in the lower right-hand corner. They weren't too happy with the fact that the Great One was hiding their logo, so his jerseys were specially made with CCM logos on both cuffs.
That's cool stuff right there.
So, happy birthday to the Great One, Wayne Gordon Gretzky, the pride of Brampton, Ontario. We are coming up on a hard break. Can you believe it? We'll be back for the second period of hockey and our special guest, the Other State of Hockey, 1350 ESPN Des Moines.
Go where the action is. Your Des Moines Buccaneers, the continuous home of hockey in the Metro for over 36 years, are back. Come catch the hard-hitting action as the next NHL stars take the ice at Buccaneer Arena. For a complete schedule of dates and promotions, visit buckshockey.com. Come for the entertainment, stay for the game.
Hi, Joe Smith here from Leaf Guard Exteriors. We suggest you stay off your ladder and let us take care of your gutters. We'd love to come out and show you why Leaf Guard's patented seamless one-piece design is the best on the market. The only one with the good housekeeping seal, and Leaf Guard is guaranteed never to clog or will clean your gutters for free. Call us today and get 50% off installation labor on a new Leaf Guard brand gutter system. 599-1675. That's 599-1675.
Hey kids, why do you like going to the Iowa Wild games?
Crash, the t-shirt tie. I like Chuck-a-Pop.
Crash always gives me a high five.
It's fun catching t-shirts from the cannon.
The goal horn when we score.
There's something for everyone with Iowa Wild Hockey at Wells Fargo Arena. Check out iowawild.com for the full season schedule, including a full list of giveaway nights and promotions for the family. Iowa Wild, hockey lives here.
I'm sitting here with Jeremy from Atomic Cloud Vaporium. I tried to quit smoking so many times. Patches, pills, nothing worked. Until I went to the Stop Smoking Center. And man, it has changed everything.
Here at Atomic Cloud Vaporium, we offer a solution using vaping as a replacement therapy. We have over 150 premium juice flavors and offer a wide variety of hardware. If you're serious about quitting smoking, come visit us at 3823 Douglas Avenue in Des Moines or at 328 Grand Avenue in West Des Moines. Atomic Cloud Vaporium.
This is Jordan from Flat Tire Center. There sure are a lot of places to buy tires. You can go to a warehouse club or the Mega We Sell Everything Superstore, or you can go to one of those anonymous websites. The same guy who sold you soap yesterday magically becomes a tire professional today, or the online tire advisors at a call center in who knows what country. We've been living, working, and driving in central Iowa for more than 50 years. Are you sure those other stores know what they're doing? Do you think they even care? If you need tires, come to Flat Tire Centers. That's flat with 2 T's because you too should ride on a flat.
Hey, this is Frank Mink, and if I had a first-round draft pick of realtors, I'd take Jen Stanbro.
Through my mortgage background and over 10 years of selling real estate in the Des Moines area, I have come to realize that my clients are my passion. Whether selling or buying your first or your 10th home, let me help you take the stress out of the process. I would love the opportunity to talk with you or someone you know that is looking to buy or sell a home. You can reach out to me by email at jen@jenstanbrorealestate.com. And Frank, that's spelled STANBROUGH. jen@jenstanbrorealestate.com.
Iowa from Iowa, yeah.
It's that small place with a big heart. It's the heartland, so we pump hard, get a fist up. We're gonna rage on till our day gone.
All right, Iowa, you are back on 1350 ESPN Des Moines. This is the other state of hockey. We are the only show that covers nothing but hockey on this station or anywhere else, probably in the radio market, weekly. We are going on, oh my gosh, now this is, 5 months, I believe now? So we're halfway through the season, but we're going to chug right on through. So anyways, this section is our guest section. First of all, we want to make sure this section is dedicated to our friends over at Felix and Oscar's. Not sure if you guys have checked it out. Joey, I don't know if you've been there much, but...
heard good things.
Heard good things. You got to check it out. Sunday buffet, beautiful.
Now you're talking my language.
There you go.
Yeah, breakfast pizza?
Breakfast pizza, several flavors, man. This is probably the only place in town you get the original Chicago-style pizza. They were actually taught by the Jedi Masters of Chicago-style pizza.
I'm down with Jedi, so.
So, love to bring the groups. They have lots of TVs. They've been there in that same location, actually not far from their building here. And they've been there for the last 25-plus years, I think it is. They were the original sports bar before the term sports bar was even coined. So, go over there, check them out on their website, felixandoscarscott.com. Hit them up on Facebook. Tell them we sent you. So, anyways, this second period, we are now up to our guests. As if Joe wasn't enough, we managed to bring in assistant coach for the Des Moines Buccaneers, Nate Weossner. Nate, welcome to the show, bud.
Thanks for having me. Glad to be here.
Thanks. And just for those of you, just give a little bit of background. Nate is a Midwesterner, I guess we can use that term, from the metropolis of Bemidji.
Yep.
Way up there, which is almost South Manitoba.
Yep. It's the lines get a little blurred up there. So a lot of people ask me where in Canada I'm from, but
yeah.
What's the coldest day you've ever seen?
Got in the negative 80s with the wind chill at one point when I was growing up.
That's a dry cold, though.
Is that what degree are we on? Are we Fahrenheit? We Celsius?
It doesn't matter, I think, at that point.
It's Fahrenheit.
It doesn't.
And yeah, things.
I didn't even know that was possible.
Yeah, I didn't either.
That's.
And
I mean, did the
you can't go outside. You don't. It's nothing going.
Did the Pluto probe happen to circle by or something, taking pictures
there
or
are
something?
rings everywhere. I don't know.
So Nader's in his second year now with the Bucks, assistant coach. Before that, he was a couple seasons with the San Jose Sharks midget AAA program out in California. He was an assistant coach with Concordia College in Moorhead, Minnesota. And before that was with a high school team in Bemidji, I believe, correct?
Yep.
Which we discussed. Actually, we have a mutual acquaintance. Your old golf coach was the guy that designed a tool that I use for training goaltenders. So.
Yeah, it's a great tool, too. It's, Goaltender's BFF. He's got a website and some great tools on there. He kind of breaks the mold a little bit. He's ahead of it. He's ahead of the curve, I think, in what he's designing and, in the direction he can go in. And like you said, you can use him from anything from young goaltenders all the way up to pros. Yeah. Really. So
I've used it on both. Literally, I showed a guy, like we were talking off air, I showed a guy who is a pro. He's playing over in the British League. And I said, you give up your post too early on a dead angle. He didn't believe me till I showed him.
Right.
And he had no idea. But a couple other neat things this guy's come up with. Tell you what, he's an innovative guy. So Nate actually is, Dave Allison, as we know, is the head coach for the Des Moines Buccaneers. Bit of an interesting relationship with you and Dave. You actually played for Dave. He was the coach of Borderland Thunder, I believe.
Yep, Superior National Junior League. After I finished high school, I played for Dave in Fort Francis, Ontario.
Which I believe is his hometown, right?
Yep, it is his hometown.
Now that you're working for him, how different is he? Because I know he's very demanding, but he's from my workings with him, he's honest, he's passionate, he cares. I'm sure even a decade ago or more when you were playing for him, he was like that. But is he different now that you work with him? Do you see a different side of him?
No. I think, you basically hit it on the head with the fire and the passion and how much he cares about the players and how much he cares about the game. And, that hasn't changed a bit. And, Dave will say it himself. He can... He can be a slave to the game, and when something's on his mind, it consumes him, and he wants to be, a solution-oriented type of coach when it comes to fixing problems, and he's a relentless guy, and which you need to be because there's always room for improvement. You get to a certain stage, where you feel development has brought you to this point and ran a proper course, but there's always more to give. And Dave believes in exhausting all potential, and he did when I played for him, and he still does now. So
great. So as we've talked about the season that you guys have had so far, streaky I think is probably the one term we could probably apply to most of the season. Started off pretty cold. We've gotten into a couple of funks as far as letting teams score the first couple of goals on us. That's happened last weekend. Mm-hmm. Then we were hot. We were cracking. There seemed like there were teams that we could never lose to. Lincoln Stars must be afraid every time they see us on the schedule.
Yeah, well, we were going through a little streak there where we'd play a team equal to us in the standings, and we'd struggle, and we'd play the best teams in the league and win.
Yeah,
but it has been a bit of a roller coaster. But I think right now we're starting to find our identity, a little bit of our brand. In which we like to play, and I think that the players are starting to adhere to it, and they can identify it now. Before we were playing really well, and the guys go, man, we're playing well. Well, no one could answer the question why we're playing well,
right.
And if you'd ask any of our guys, and now I think if you sat them down and said, what makes us successful, I think that they could look at you and tell you in words, and have examples, and I think they can define it. And I think that's really important, and that's going to help us moving forward here. Is right now we're 2 points out of a playoff spot,
yep.
And we've done the last after break. We had a big weekend, and then we lost 4 straight,
mm-hmm.
but we weren't playing that bad.
Right.
But we were playing good. But now our guys are realizing and understanding that good isn't good enough, and that there's an extra bit that we all have to do on the same page to keep moving forward, and our guys are starting to be able to identify that, and they did big time on Sunday night against Saturday night rather against Muskegon.
Came back from a 2-0 hole.
2-0 hole.
First 4 minutes.
60 shots on net. 84 attempted, I believe, and so they're starting. When we decide that this is our brand, we're extremely hard to play against, and we're easy to play with.
Did you say the Des Moines Buccaneers had 60 shots on goal in a game?
Yes, and
is that a franchise record?
And we had 60 the weekend before against Sioux Falls.
I don't think I've ever seen a hockey game with 60 shots in regulation.
Yeah.
That's
unbelievable.
The game Saturday was an overtimer.
Oh yeah, the game Saturday was an overtime, but
it's 5 minutes overtime, not a playoff game.
We had 60 shots on net too, and a 6-2 win in Sioux Falls.
That's unbelievable.
In Des Moines here against Sioux Falls.
But the buy-in, right? That's what you're talking about here. The buy-in, the understanding, couldn't come at a better time for you guys, right? Because you talk about the playoff push.
Yep.
Games now have that extra intensity as you start to get around the All-Star break and the NHL season's winding down. It seems like every league ratchets things up. I've seen it with the Iowa Wild games the last couple of weeks. The Saturday night in Rockford, it had that playoff feel. Now, the Wild aren't a playoff team, but they were playing a first-place team. It was chippy. There were 4 fights. It had that you better pay a price to win this game type of atmosphere. So it's nice to see if, especially from a coaching perspective, if you and Dave see the players buying in this time of year and telling them, hey, it's going to take a little bit more, and they understand that and are willing to do it, good things could be on the horizon. Fair to say?
Yeah, I definitely agree. And the biggest thing is just getting in, because once that happens, it's anybody's game. And we've had success against top teams in our division, and so we want to get in.
Yeah.
And all bets on.
Hope we get Lincoln first round then. But as you said, 2 points right now separate 8th through 4th.
That's crazy.
It's pretty tight right now.
But that's hockey today.
Yeah.
And I really feel like that's every sport.
Yeah. It's a good
NBA, NFL, it's a week in, week out thing. You can have a bad week and be buried. It's how you respond.
Yep. Absolutely. So, Nate, for you, what was your biggest adjustment going from player to coach? How did that? You just decide, okay, I'm going to hang him up and coaching is the next logical thing?
Kind of. When I was done, I was ready to be done as a player. I kind of reached that level where I thought I was a little burnt out. But I was offered a spot to coach. It was always in the back of my mind that I wanted to, or at least give it a try. And when I was offered the spot to coach, I decided to do it because hockey's gave me so much and has taught me so much. I thought that it'd be a good opportunity for me to, the old cliche, give back a little bit, I guess. And I was immediately hooked. And I actually, the first 2 years I coached with 2 of my best friends. We coached some Pee Wee team, and we coached a Bantam team.
And then somewhere.
Yeah, and then I got on with the high school team. And after that, it became serious for me.
Okay.
So
you went from literally, you don't run the whole gambit. You've gone from running house league teams to all the way down to junior.
Pro, really, yeah.
So you just need a taste of pro. So how is it different? Going from Concordia to junior. Or from high school to Concordia to junior.
Yeah,
even.
The high school to college was an interesting step because you're dealing with men.
Yep.
Instead of boys. I was 26 years old coaching 25-year-olds, and so I think a lot of it is managing. I was still learning a lot, and but I think a lot of it was learning how to manage people, and understanding people. Understanding that there's guys out on teams that are coming from different backgrounds and coming from different coaching, and that was the first time that I'd experienced that. So that was the biggest change. And then from college to junior, really it's more of a maturity level thing, and I say that with all respect, because our guys, we have a lot of guys that are mature beyond their years.
Yeah.
But it's just a life step, And but again, it goes back to just managing players, and the one thing I like about junior is a lot of these guys are sponges yet.
Yeah.
They want to be coached. They love coming to the rink, and we got guys that are on the ice all the time doing extra. Guys asking me, hey, can we do this? Can we do that? And that's the fun part of it.
So if you're just stumbling upon us on the radio dial, you're listening to The Other State of Hockey. We are speaking with our guest, Nate Weossner, the assistant coach of the Des Moines Buccaneers. I'm Derek Hender, and Joe O'Donnell is sitting in the big chair for Frank this week. Coming up soon on our next commercial break, last question we're going to throw at you here now, and it's one a curveball we like to throw all of our guests. If all of a sudden you were anointed being a person of authority, what rule in hockey would you change?
I think right now I can speak for our league. I don't know the exact rule past us right now, but I know I would like to see a little twist on the embellishment rule. I think that a guy embellishes it, a stick in his feet or something, he goes down and they drag both to the box. Like now, I'm happy that they're doing the embellishment thing, but I think we can get to a point where they just start calling the guy for a dive.
Right. If you say it's not enough to be a penalty, why the hell do you put that guy in the box?
And the other thing too is players turning their backs.
Yeah.
Players turn their back at the last second. They get hit. They go down. Then they embellish again. And in our league, a guy gets kicked out. He gets a 5 in a game.
Right. Check from behind.
The guy's hurt, but then he's on again next shift.
Right.
So I think there could be something worked in there, and I know it becomes discretionary with the referees and stuff like that, but it puts them in a tough spot, puts the referees in a tough spot, and it puts us at a tough spot because I think when you get a bigger guy that's going into to eliminate a player, he turns his back, and he might be in a situation where there's a possible suspension on the line.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because make no mistake, your players are men. I mean, these guys are. We had 4 of them in here a couple of weeks ago, and we couldn't get them all in one camera shot. I mean, these are big guys.
And so I think, I don't know where you go with it, but I'd like to see the embellishment rule where a dive is just a dive and then it's not a coincidental, and a guy that turns his back that, puts himself in peril. Yep. I think he should possibly be penalized for not understanding or not being willing to protect himself.
Mm-hmm. I think if they're going to keep both guys off, the guy who gets called for embellishment should get a misconduct.
They're teaching the kids today not to hit from behind with the stop signs on the back of the jerseys, right?
Yeah.
So at the same time, you're teaching those kids, don't hit when you see the numbers.
Yep.
Don't hit when you see the stop sign, so to speak. Teach the kids, don't turn that way to absorb the hit, because from time to time you're going to get hit, and you're just going to do more damage to yourself.
Yeah. Natural reaction, but that's something that definitely.
There's nothing to say you can't counter hit.
Right.
Brace
yourself.
The old Forsberg.
Yep.
He's coming to get you. Just lean back into him. You want to turn your back, at least lean back into him rather than just get smashed face first into the glass.
And I had a coach that we used to work on it, and he called it Tai Chi.
John Torchetti loves it. The counter hit. I mean, that's might be his favorite play in the offensive zone. Love that counter hit.
Love that counter hit. We've had Torchy on.
And honestly, I liken it to the Forsberg. There wasn't anybody better in hockey for me growing up, late in the 80s, but really watching hockey in the 90s. To watch him go into the corner and just puddle guys.
Yeah. Tough beyond his reputation.
I agree.
And possess the puck.
Yep.
He was a tough guy. He was, and like you say, not in a fighting aspect, but
no.
I mean, there wasn't anybody driving him off the puck. And
so strong.
he was kind of, I guess, power forward in the sense of
before the term was coined, really.
With some dangles.
Yeah.
Hey, we're coming up on a hard break here. We might have stretched it a little bit, but Maddie's going to pay us some bills. 1350 ESPN Des Moines. You're listening to The Other State of Hockey.
Go where the action is. Your Des Moines Buccaneers, the continuous home of hockey in the Metro for over 36 years, are back. Come catch the hard-hitting action as the next NHL stars take the ice at Buccaneer Arena. For a complete schedule of dates and promotions, visit buckshockey.com. Come for the entertainment, stay for the game.
Hi, Joe Smith here from Leaf Guard Exteriors. We suggest you stay off your ladder and let us take care of your gutters. We'd love to come out and show you why Leaf Guard's patented seamless one-piece design is the best on the market. The only one with the good housekeeping seal, and Leaf Guard is guaranteed never to clog or will clean your gutters for free. Call us today and get 50% off installation labor on a new Leaf Guard brand gutter system. 599-1675. That's 599-1675.
Hey kids, why do you like going to the Iowa Wild games?
Crash, the t-shirt tie. I like Chuck-a-Pop. Crash always gives me a high five. It's fun catching t-shirts from the cannon. The goal horn when we score.
There's something for everyone with Iowa Wild Hockey at Wells Fargo Arena. Check out iowawild.com for the full season schedule, including a full list of giveaway nights and promotions for the family. Iowa Wild. Hockey lives here.
I'm sitting here with Jeremy from Atomic Cloud Vaporium. I tried to quit smoking so many times. Patches, pills, nothing worked. Until I went to the Stop Smoking Center. And man, it has changed everything.
Here at Atomic Cloud Vaporium, we offer a solution using vaping as a replacement therapy. We have over 150 premium juice flavors and offer a wide variety of hardware. If you're serious about quitting smoking, come visit us at 3823 Douglas Avenue in Des Moines or at 328 Grand Avenue in West Des Moines. Atomic Cloud Vaporium.
This is Jordan from Flat Tire Center. There sure are a lot of places to buy tires. You can go to a warehouse club or the Mega We Sell Everything Superstore, or you can go to one of those anonymous websites. The same guy who sold you soap yesterday magically becomes a tire professional today, or the online tire advisors at a call center in who knows what country. We've been living, working, and driving in central Iowa for more than 50 years. Are you sure those other stores know what they're doing? Do you think they even care? If you need tires, come to Flat Tire Centers. That's flat with 2 T's because you too should ride on a flat.
Hey, this is Frank Mink, and if I had a first-round draft pick of realtors, I'd take Jen Stanbro.
Through my mortgage background and over 10 years of selling real estate in the Des Moines area, I have come to realize that my clients are my passion. Whether selling or buying your first or your 10th home, let me help you take the stress out of the process. I would love the opportunity to talk with you or someone you know that is looking to buy or sell a home. You can reach out to me by email at jen@jenstanbrorealestate.com. And Frank, that's spelled STANBROUGH. jen@jenstanbrorealestate.com.
From Iowa, yeah. It's that small place with a big heart. It's the heartland, so we pump hard, get a fist up.
We are back. Des Moines, Central Iowa. You are listening to the only full-time media outlet dedicated to the great sport of hockey, mostly because the other media outlets choose to ignore it, to be quite honest. So we are here to give it a voice that it so justly deserves. I'm Derek Hender. Filling in with for my host, Frank Mink, is Joe O'Donnell, the radio guy for the Iowa Wild. And Nate Weossner, the assistant coach from the Bucks, is stuck around. We're going to talk next section. We're going to get through a little bit of Bucks and then get it back into all the other news. I keep thinking about, Joe, I'm sure you know who PJ Stock is.
Yeah.
He had like a cup of coffee and had 6 games or whatever in the NHL. He's one of these guys.
He played more than that. Okay. Boston, the Rangers.
He was with Montreal briefly, but his
he
big
was
thing,
a spark plug.
Yeah. His big thing is now, of course, that he's a resident smart, for the NHL Network and CBC.
TSN, right? Yeah.
Yep. And when he first got his first radio show in Ottawa, they gave him a 3-hour block. So he went home, he did all his research and did all his paperwork. And he said he was 10 minutes into his first 3-hour block and he realized he was out of material. That's the exact fear that I have every week. And believe me, I'm nowhere near done here. So this is the kind of thing that we think that
better to over prepare, my friend.
It is.
Doc Emmerich says he prepares 10 times what he'll think he uses for every broadcast.
Absolutely. So anyways, we're back here and we just talk about where the Bucks have been going on. We talked about it last week. So the 22nd, we had a game against Omaha, of which I believe we continued the streaky season of a loss of 4-1, which doesn't sound much like we were in the game for the most part.
Well, we outshot them by 10. And again, we're
where were the shots coming from?
Well, that game, we did have some nice scoring opportunities.
Yeah.
When we've been in trouble as of late, it's been in our own end, and I know that that's obviously something that happens when you get scored on.
Yeah.
But, we'd like to have that one back. But, we really like the way our guys have been responding. Like the next night we came out and we needed to make a statement against Muskegon, so it was good to see him do that.
Yep. So it was a 5-1 final, I believe, but still not, like you said, not completely reflective of the effort. There's certainly no problem with that. Muskegon Lumberjacks, which I think is probably one of the coolest names in minor hockey. We were at home against those guys, and we took that one to the wall. Shootout win, the SOW as we like to call it.
Yeah, that. We got done after the game, and that was an exciting game. I think I would like to have been a fan at that game.
I meant to ask you, how hard is it to take the player out?
Well, that's the one good thing about coaching is you can still have that intensity.
Yeah.
You still have that little competitive edge that stays with you and that you can exercise a little bit.
You funnel your energy into it.
Yeah, but I can't stand shootouts. And
tell me about it.
And I would have loved to have been a fan that game, but no, that was a squeaker. And after the game, we thought we played very well, and we said, man, would that have been a shame if we would have lost in that shootout the way we played.
When you give the league's leading scorer the first 4 minutes, he gets 2 on.
So he scored 4. He's been involved with 46% of their goals this year.
Yeah,
you know, and we told the guys that before the game, and first 4 minutes he's got 2, and we're like,
he's
weren't
at
100%. We weren't kidding.
Maybe now we were going to watch him,
right?
Or stop watching him. And
stop watching. That's a better analogy. I know. Actually, going back real quick to how do you take the player out of yourself? I remember one of my favorite examples of this. Scott White, when he was our general manager here for the Stars, loved Whitey to death. Great guy. On game day, he is
intense.
He is intense. Yeah. Intense. I mean, you can't. If he sits anywhere near you, you're going to hear him. He is very focused, and you can tell the competitive fire never died in him. So great to see that in him. So it looks like we got was it McNabb was the goalie of record, I believe, for that game. Was he not?
Yep. He played phenomenal.
Yeah.
Nabber played really well on Saturday.
It's good to see because I mean, Rizzo's your number one guy pretty much right now.
Yeah, Rizika. Well, Rizika's had a up and down since he's came back from the Prospects game.
Yeah.
Did an excellent job at the Prospects game and had to come back, and he'll bounce back. Jan's too competitive. He's too much of a student of his position, and he's got too much ability.
Yeah.
Not to bounce back. But Nabber's done good too, and he had a great game, and I thought that was the best game he's played so far this year.
Cool. All right, and Kiefer got the shootout winner. So
which is kind of ironic too, with the 2 guys that scored for us in the shootout were Muskegon's property last year. And Kiefer played for Muskegon last year.
Nice.
Take it right to him. I like it.
Nice. Little hair of the dog.
Yeah.
So next home game is the 30th against Sioux City.
Yeah, this Saturday against Sioux City.
Yep, and that is the Wine, Women, and Hockey event, which I believe is along the same lines as the one we talked about last week with Jenna, as far as getting the female fans engaged with the game and giving them the unique perspective and catering an event to their interests. So glad to see we're reaching out to all of our fans out there. So like we said, 8th place right now in the Western Conference, 16, 18, and 2. 2 points separate 8th from 4th.
Yep.
I think 3 points actually put you up to 3rd.
Yep.
So I know you got a pretty easy schedule the next couple of weeks. So hopefully that's enough time to get the boys focused and ready to go. So can't wait to see how this one ends. It's usually the last few years it's been over early. So glad to see our boys are hanging in there.
Yeah, we'd like to stretch it out a little bit.
Yep. So going back to the NHL stuff, our friends at the Oh Crap app, we're going to give them a little shout out for this. Our friends at grllaw.com. Sean Horkoff from the Anaheim Ducks, a bit of a maligned player, got a 20-game suspension announced this week without pay for a violation of the league's performance-enhancing substance policy. And under the CBA, he's automatically referred to a substance abuse program. They have not released any details, but he says it was related to an injury he had in the fall and a program that he was getting into to help speed his recovery. He apologized up and down for it, but he didn't know it was banned. He didn't do his research. I don't know if I buy all that.
Hard for me to say, to be honest. But at the end of the day, the league's got to do what the league's got to do. They want to keep the game as clean as possible.
Yep.
And I think it's a good step for the league. And, every sporting league is trying to get that way, where they want their game to be as up and down, by the book, legit, whatever you want to say.
Yeah.
So I guess kudos to the NHL for staying on these guys, making sure they're taking the proper supplements. I know in the American Hockey League, it's the same thing as far as banned substances, and it's on the onus of the athletic trainers and the staff and the players themselves. You got to know what you're putting in your body.
Know your doctors, know your agents, know your rights, know what your CBA allows. I mean, these guys have the resources there. If indeed it was something that he didn't know that he didn't formally do his homework, okay, he has owned up to it. So we'll see how it goes. I don't know if there'll be any more coming out of that. Speaking of guys in trouble, Mike Richards, the recent pickup for the Washington Capitals, his trial in Manitoba has been pushed back till the 28th, and I believe that was mostly due to an investigation that his own defense team has requested. As we know, he was busted getting into crossing the Canadian border with an excessive amount of controlled substance. Vicodins, I believe, mostly were the type of thing I believe it was rumored to be. Had his contract voided with the Kings.
Yep. It's good to see him get another opportunity, though.
It is.
You know, the big thing will be, and it is with any player or athlete that gets put in situations, how do you learn?
Yeah.
You know, and if Mike Richards dedicates himself again to the sport of hockey and, goes back to working his tail off, because, what I've heard is that maybe some of that work away from the rink had started to slack off a little bit. If he gets back to his game, we all know the type of player Mike Richards can be in the NHL.
Talent. Yeah.
He can be a thorn in the opponent's side. He wins draws. He can play in every situation. Yeah, he might be a little bit older. Maybe doesn't skate the way he used to. But if he can play smart without the puck, he's on a great hockey team right now. The Caps have 73 points. Are you kidding me?
They wouldn't be taking. I don't think, honestly, that Trotz would be taking a gamble on a guy like that who's going to be a distraction.
Well, you do your homework.
Yeah. This is a guy who, Trotz was the guy who benched Ovechkin for missing practice.
Yeah. And he had the run in with the Kostitsyn twins, right?
Oh, yeah.
Or the brothers.
Nashville. Yeah. We know.
So, I mean, at Barry Trotz, you bring up a great point. Veteran coach, he will do his homework.
And he benched Radulov, too.
Oh, it was Radulov. Yeah.
Radulov, yeah.
You've got. He's gonna make his phone calls on a guy. Yep. It's not just gonna be somebody hey, Mike Richards is in your lap. They're a first place team. They don't need Mike Richards, but if he's cleaned up, he can help them.
Yeah, like I said, wish nothing but the best for the guy. Good to see a guy get a second chance if he so deserves it. So, coming up on yet another heartbreak. I know Nate says he's got to skate out of here. So thanks for coming on. We'll try to get you on again before too long.
I would love to come back.
Best of luck the rest of the way if we don't see you. And Central Iowa, you're listening to The Other State of Hockey, 1350 ESPN Des Moines. Pay those bills, Maddie.
The continuous home of hockey in the Metro for over 36 years are back. Come catch the hard-hitting action as the next NHL stars take the ice at Buccaneer Arena. For a complete schedule of dates and promotions, visit buckshockey.com. Come for the entertainment, stay for the game.
Hi, Joe Smith here from Leaf Guard Exteriors. We suggest you stay off your ladder and let us take care of your gutters. We'd love to come out and show you why Leaf Guard's patented seamless one-piece design is the best on the market. The only one with the good housekeeping seal, and Leaf Guard is guaranteed never to clog or will clean your gutters for free. Call us today and get 50% off installation labor on a new Leaf Guard brand gutter system. 599-1675. That's 599-1675.
Hey kids, why do you like going to the Iowa Wild games?
Crash, the t-shirt tie. I like Chuck-a-Pop. Crash always gives me a high five. It's fun catching t-shirts from the cannon. The goal horn when we score.
There's something for everyone with Iowa Wild Hockey at Wells Fargo Arena. Check out iowawild.com for the full season schedule, including a full list of giveaway nights and promotions for the family. Iowa Wild. Hockey lives here.
I'm sitting here with Jeremy from Atomic Cloud Vaporium. I tried to quit smoking so many times. Patches, pills, nothing worked. Until I went to the Stop Smoking Center. And man, it has changed everything.
Here at Atomic Cloud Vaporium, we offer a solution using vaping as a replacement therapy. We have over 150 premium juice flavors and offer a wide variety of hardware. If you're serious about quitting smoking, come visit us at 3823 Douglas Avenue in Des Moines or at 328 Grand Avenue in West Des Moines. Atomic Cloud Vaporium.
This is Jordan from Flat Tire Center. There sure are a lot of places to buy tires. You can go to a warehouse club or the Mega We Sell Everything Superstore, or you can go to one of those anonymous websites. The same guy who sold you soap yesterday magically becomes a tire professional today, or the online tire advisors at a call center in who knows what country. We've been living, working, and driving in Central Iowa for more than 50 years. Are you sure those other stores know what they're doing? Do you think they even care? If you need tires, come to Flat Tire Centers. That's flat with 2 T's because you too should ride on a flat.
Hey, this is Frank Mink, and if I had a first-round draft pick of realtors, I'd take Jen Stanbro.
Through my mortgage background and over 10 years of selling real estate in the Des Moines area, I have come to realize that my clients are my passion. Whether selling or buying your first or your 10th home, let me help you take the stress out of the process. I would love the opportunity to talk with you or someone you know that is looking to buy or sell a home. You can reach out to me by email at jen@jenstambrorealestate.com. And Frank, that's spelled STANBROUGH. jen@jenstambrorealestate.com.
From Iowa, yeah. It's that small place with a big heart. It's the heartland, so we pump hard. Get a this up, we gonna rage on till our day gone.
All right, you caught me doing a little research here. What can I say? Frank's not here to be on the computer, so I am. So this is the other state of hockey. My name's Derek Hender. Frank Mink, who's usually here, has been sent down for a conditioning stint down to the minors. He will be back in the chair, hopefully, if he makes the cut next week. Filling in for him this week in those big skates is Joe O'Donnell, radio voice of your Iowa Wild. So we are back. Actually, great timing. We're going to dedicate this segment to our boys at Fuzzy Tacos. My new, like the T-shirt says there, my new addiction. I'm not just talking this. I've got my whole family right now is hooked on this place. It's turning into our after hockey place. It's owned by a good hockey family. They you go there. Believe it or not, they even have a hockey on TV there. And
Love it.
And Joe said he's been to the one in OKC.
Yeah, when we used to, in the Houston Aeros and then the Iowa Wild would play the Barons, no longer there in Oklahoma City, now the Bakersfield Condors, Edmonton's farm team, but I used to hit up Fuzzy Tacos, so when I saw there's one coming in downtown, I didn't realize there was one in Ankeny.
Yeah.
Or I probably would have hit that up a long time ago. But downtown, right by Wells Fargo Arena now and Principal Park, so just a hop, skip, and a jump from our offices.
Exactly. So, like I said, 2 locations. Don't forget to go in there. Tell them we sent you. I know I was there to talk to the owners last week. Great bunch of people. Full service bar. Great menu. My wife's new favorite, the breakfast burrito. So Fuzzy's Taco. You check them out on their website. They even have an app, believe it or not. So there you go.
You got to have an app.
So we got Joey on the show. We're going to actually talk a little bit of wild like we always do. Of course, with Joe here, he didn't want, he's got to talk a little shop. I mean, come on. So first thing of newsworthy, this week, the AHL All-Star lineup was announced. Gustav Olofsson is one of our defensemen, number 13, going to the Central Division All-Stars.
It's a great opportunity for Olofsson, who's actually finding the score sheet a lot more. When he was first named to the All-Star team, he had 7 assists in like 30-something games. Kid's been hot now. Yeah. He's got 2 goals and 2 assists in his last 5 games or something.
Not to mention that neat overtimer.
Overtime game winner, driving the net there. 3-on-3 hockey's been just unbelievable from that perspective, from a fan perspective. So it's great for Olofsson, obviously a top prospect in the Minnesota Wild. They have some depth along the blue line. You look at the young guys that are up in Minnesota now, Scandella, Spurgeon, Brodin. Those guys are still, Dumba, those guys are still young. When you throw in a potential NHL blue liner for a long time like Olofsson, Mikey Riley,
you got some
flexibility. Depth. Yeah, a lot of depth. So it's great for Olofsson. Really good kid, really humble kid, works hard. And you got to remember, he missed his rookie season last year. He's a rookie still. So he played 1 game last year and had major shoulder surgery and was out for the year. And so now he's back and he plays every situation, 25 minutes a night. I mean, it's really impressive what he's done this year.
It's really neat when you sit up top and just watch him read the ice.
Yep.
When he gets a little bit of open ice, he just reads it so well. He looks like he's so far ahead of other guys.
Yeah, head up, smooth. Yep. I mean, there's so, like, you look at these Swedish-born players. Like, that's what I remember about Brodin the 1 year he was in Houston during the last, partial NHL lockout, that half season. They had Brodin and Granlund and Zucker and Coyle. I mean, it was Larson, who's now with Buffalo. I mean, it was unbelievable, the talent. And playing against, Oklahoma City at Taylor Hall and Schultz and Eberle and Nugent Hopkins. I mean, every night it was now top prospects, basically. And Brodin was just so smooth with the puck. Just effortless, as you said. And Olofsson's cut from that same cloth.
Yeah. A couple other names going to the All-Star game. Jake Dowell, former captain of, last year's captain of the Iowa Wild.
2 years ago.
2 years ago. I apologize.
Campaign.
I apologize. TJ Tynan from Lake Erie Monsters, former Des Moines Buck, as we like to point out, is getting his first shot at the All-Star game. AHL's doing the same format this year as the NHL 3-on-3?
Yeah, they're doing like mini games, though. Okay. So it's kind of like a tournament within... it's the All-Star Challenge. Nice. But yes, divided up by division and 3-on-3 hockey. Should be cool.
Cool. So looking at the stat sheet, actually, we have a team that we're getting close to. We're right up on Manitoba's heels. We got a point on them right now.
Yes, they have a few games in hand, but I'm with you. I've been watching that as well.
Yeah, and that's the thing about, you always look to see how close you're getting to the next guy.
Look, this Wild team is a different team than it was when it went winless in November.
Yeah.
And there are a number of reasons for it. It would take me a whole hour probably to get into it. Some of it I can't even really pinpoint.
Yep.
But there's a different vibe now. These guys expect to win. The coaching staff is expecting them to win. On top of that, there's accountability. A good group.
Games.
Yeah, and even in November, they were in games.
Yeah.
The problem was playing with the lead. It just seemed like you were always waiting for that bad moment.
Yeah.
How is it going to end tonight?
Is it playing not to lose or playing to win?
And actually, last night, Wednesday night, Tuesday night rather, the overtime loss to the Chicago Wolves was, I think, the 12th time this year, if I'm not mistaken, that the Wild have had a lead or been tied with 10 minutes to go in the third period and they didn't win the game.
Yeah.
Now, there's some overtime shootout games in there. There's some games that were like that they won.
Mm-hmm.
But to have that happen 12 times, and you had a stat on 1-goal games you were talking off the air earlier,
Yeah.
24 or 25 1-goal games.
24 of our 44 games have been settled by 1 goal.
Unbelievable, how tight things have been. And they can go either way. And at the same time, when you're losing those games, it's hard to get over the hump. You win a few of them, though. It's amazing, Derek, to see the confidence, that mindset, the character it builds. So I think this Wild team can certainly make some hay, play the role of spoiler as the season moves along. And my hope would just be make the Iowa Wild fans, the season ticket holders, proud. Because there was a rough patch there where the fans were getting frustrated, as well they should have been.
Still showing up, though.
Oh, great crowds.
Still showing up. We have still some of the greatest crowds. As we talked about since Christmas, the last 10 were 4-5-1.
Yeah, last 12 games, points in 7 of them.
Yeah. So, 500 is not much to aspire to, but it's respectability.
Yeah. And again, playing hard every night, never out of games. Last Tuesday night, the 7th time this year, the Wild have earned a point when trailing after 2 periods of play.
Yep.
For a team that's in last place, that's pretty impressive. You could easily pack it in when there's not that much to play for standings-wise. But again, 7 times this year, the Wild have found a way at the second intermission to be losing that game and at least earn a point in the standings. That's near the top of the league.
Yep. So a couple things I think about this as far as what might have sparked this. We would talk about what's the magic in a bottle here. I think getting guys back, character guys back like Hagel, I think he's a key. He's a spark plug. He's an energy player. We've had him here on the show. Grayson Downing, getting him back is huge. The guy's got hands. Schrader, up and down, he's been back again now.
He's been unbelievable. Best player, I think, on the ice, at least for the Wild, the last 10 games. And I don't want to say it's not even close because you mentioned Downing's been red hot. Mitchell's been putting the puck in the net more. Birchie has a ton of chances. Christian Fulton's a big piece. But to me, there's been nobody better than Jordan Schrader.
Yep, absolutely. And looking at our goaltendings, their numbers are virtually identical. Virtually the same number of games, 21 for Smitty. Irvs has 24. Their save percentage is identical at 9.12. What's the chance of that?
The frustrating thing, I think, was the goaltending was so good the first couple of weeks, and the Wild didn't take advantage of it.
Yeah.
They didn't start 5-0-1 or 6-2. And then the team started to struggle a little bit. And it didn't seem that the Wild could put it together where you score 3 or 4 goals and play a good game, and it'll be a tough goal against, a soft goal, a bad bounce.
You feel
you
the
blow
air
a
suck
lead
out of the
late,
arena.
and it's just like, man, get at it the next night, give up a power play goal when the game was tied. It just always seemed there was some, again, what was gonna go wrong next, and it just unfortunately went on for a couple of weeks. And in any league, American Hockey League or otherwise, you skid for more than 5 or 6 games, you got to go on a tear to get back in it.
Yeah, the old rule about Thanksgiving being the benchmark,
right? Or they say you can't make the playoffs in October, but you can certainly take yourself out of it.
Yeah,
early in the season.
Yep. So last week we had 3 games, 4-3 win against Rockford, 1-0 loss, tough one on that Saturday night.
Yeah, one of the best games the Wild's played all year.
Yep. And then 4-3 overtime loss this week to a Chicago team that's owned us pretty well. 2 teams, honestly, we've always had trouble with.
Yeah, so good teams, historically playoff teams, and rivals. That those spicy type games when you're playing teams that are so close proximity wise.
Yep. So coming up this week, I know we're coming up on time here. What's the schedule looking like?
Military Appreciation Night Friday night. We've got the youth jersey, the Stars and Stripes youth jersey giveaway. So get there early at 7:00 Friday. Then a 12:30 start Saturday. John Torchetti bobblehead.
Nice.
So some great giveaways. Tickets at IowaWild.com.
Excellent. And your radio show next on?
I think it's February 3rd, Hockey Gone Wild. But, yeah, looking forward to a strong finish here for the Iowa Wild. Thanks for having me, bud.
Thanks, Joey. Thanks to our guest, Nate. This has been The Other State of Hockey. Iowa, keep your stick on the ice. We'll catch you next Thursday night at 5 o'clock.
Those memories, they all flood back. I remember cruising Cuddy Road with a blunt roll getting